Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting Adobe live stream coming at you live right now. If you are on YouTube or any other place, come on over to be.net/Adobe Live so we can read all your comments, join us in chat. I see a bunch of regulars here. I don't know if I see any first timers because I don't know you yet, but say hello in chat. We'll welcome you in. I see Annika, Rick, Kimmie's in chat and also on the stream. Hello, Kimmie. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Guys, did you know we're live? We're live.
Is this thing on? This is crazy.
We're live.
I love it. And if you are watching this later on in replays, hello to you as well. But we do love everybody to be here live in chat. So definitely come on over. Again, be.net/Adobe Live. So anyways, what are we going to be working on today, Kimmie?
All right. Well, let me move this.
Actually, let's start with who you are first. Let's do the intro.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Kimmie Joffrion. I am a graphic designer and illustrator and primarily vector illustrator. And I am a freelancer and I specialize in package design and vector illustration. I always pause after that, like something special is supposed to happen.
We'll have to add fireworks to the stream later
I know.
on.
I feel like we need like a special effect. I don't specialize in animation, so I don't know what's supposed to happen after that. But this is just a brief little preview of my website, which is actually an Adobe portfolio website. Highly recommend y'all check that out. It links to your Behance page. So if you peruse through my Behance, same exact stuff.
Yeah, I love that feature. Essentially, you're already doing all the work building your Behance profile, so you might as well just have it work for you with your portfolio. That way you're not doing those like other domains and stuff that, you know.
Yeah, I love it.
Do twice the work. So
I love it. So I just always have to show that off and just let everyone know, hey, you get one anyway. You don't have to go code anything or play with any of that other stuff. So,
exactly.
Yeah, and I just did this yesterday, so I do want to show it off. If y'all were watching me on stream yesterday, I finished it. Yay! So you can check that out. And I was playing with some vector brushes I was working with, so I finished that up. But let's get out the way. We're not here to look at all that. We're here to do some packaging, right?
Big fan of packaging, so I'm so excited, especially because you have a skill set that I definitely do not have, which is illustrating. I can't illustrate.
Oh, I thought you meant like packaging. I was like, I was totally stalking your Behance. You do packaging. What are you talking about?
I would love to work with you so that I could put your beautiful labels on my bottles because I can't do any of the stuff you're doing. So I'm very excited to learn from you today. How
much do I love packaging? I love packaging so much. I collect packaging.
Ooh.
Look at that. Look how obnoxious that is.
That's amazing.
I do. I collect packaging because just like the feel of it and everything. Yeah. So I highly recommend y'all doing this. If you ever just come across something that you like, if it's like a unique shape, texture, anything like that, collect it.
Yeah,
trust
really
me.
Smart. Have you seen Aaron Traplin's like workshop that he just has of collected like trinkets and things that inspire him daily? It's
I don't think I have, but highly recommend y'all do that. So the way I got this particular shape for this hot sauce is I also collect bottles. So I have a little unique little die cut here. So I kind of started with that. And in case you haven't figured it out, we're doing hot sauce today. And then I went in and I traced it on a sheet of paper.
Oh, nice.
Scan that bad boy in. And that's how we got this unique little die cut here. So that's where we're going to start.
I love that. I think what you did there with tracing a label size and shape that you already like is super helpful. It gives you a starting point. I think oftentimes whenever you're starting to do a packaging design, especially if you're just starting off as a designer, it can be very, very daunting. So what you did there is really clever for breaking down the steps so you can create it to kind of be actionable.
That's actually how I was taught, is to simply collect the packaging and start from there, just deconstruct it, scan it in, and you can actually trace it that way. I actually just saw the word save. So I'm gonna double check, just make sure that this is, yes, this is already saved. Okay, awesome. Now we can keep going.
Next question that chat's gonna ask is, have you had a sip of water lately? Because you gotta stay hydrated.
Y'all are gonna see me drink so much. I'm gonna try to lean over so you don't hear me drink, but my mouth is just chronically dry. I apologize. I'll probably drink more than I will talk. Sorry.
So chat, you're gonna have to remind us, stay hydrated and save, okay? Two tasks, and then, you know, post your favorite memes. Just to continue with the inside jokes, you know.
Yeah.
The last 4 weeks.
So the typeface we're using today is gonna be Comic Papyrus.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you very much, Kimmie. Appreciate it. Kimmie is now, since I don't see Hayden here today, Kimmie is now the official president of the cult of Comic Papyrus. We were already talking this afternoon about the benefits of Comic Sans. So if you aren't familiar, Kimmie, I think you can explain it really lovely if you want to about the benefits of Comic Sans.
Yeah, Comic Sans is just a really easy typeface that's just super legible, especially for individuals with disabilities. And I actually do have a disability, and just find Comic Sans to be one of the typefaces that's super easy to read. So I will always advocate for Comic Sans.
Yeah, dyslexia is one of the primary benefits from Comic Sans. So this is unironically a valid reason to use Comic Sans for your next design. So happy for anybody in chat, if you are designing today, designing along with us, whatever, if you use Comic Sans in any of your projects, feel free to tag me on your Behance project. I would love to see it and give it a thumbs up. So happy Comic Sansing.
All right.
Especially if you use Comic Papyrus.
Yeah, the Comic Papyrus. I would love to see some really awesome Comic Papyrus designs out there. Like t-shirts, hit me up. I used to be a print shop manager. I used to design tons of t-shirts. And ironically enough, I used Comic Sans on a t-shirt design, and I had a woman just flip her lid. Amazing. I can't stand Comic Sans. I was like, okay, well, I love Comic Sans.
Yeah.
Or I didn't even realize I used Comic Sans, but I was like, okay. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and start making this little die cut here. But the best thing about using a pre-made package, like just something that's already made, this is the ordinary, just something already out there, that usually means the die cut already exists. So your manufacturer is more likely to have this die cut already created, so you can actually contact them and probably get the die cut ready really to go.
Yeah, that's
it is art's online already somewhere. If the die cut doesn't exist, it's probably gonna have to pay for it. So make sure you communicate with whoever you're working with and let them know, hey, this is gonna be a unique shape. That die cut might not exist, so it might be a little bit more expensive. Do you wanna contact the manufacturer and kind of see what they have already and then work around with that?
Totally, that's super helpful. Good call out.
All right.
Fabio says, so beautiful, the drawing. Yeah, I agree. Your pencils on this are so beautiful already. You could just kind of ship it and we'll be done. But I know that's not good enough. So
let's see. Let's get in here and make sure that, okay, yeah, that's good. Make that. All right. And then if you double click on this, I'll also show, I already have it spot colored and labeled for each one. So that is my die line. Go ahead and get this in. I'm gonna just go in a little bit smaller on that. Center all of that.
The Void says, if you try the sauce, you'll probably want to drink a lot more water, which is a great reason to have hot sauce. Stay hydrated.
All right, so I went ahead and I'm going to copy and paste in place. Let me see. Oh. All right, yeah, so let's go ahead and let's copy, paste in place, and then I'm gonna change it to blue. I'll come over here and I'm gonna create my bleed path, offset path. That's fine, I'm not gonna do anything fancy with that. And then I'm gonna expand it. So that's gonna tell me, that's my bleed, that's how far out I need to go with everything. And then I'm also gonna create a safe zone. So that's just gonna tell me how far in I want all of my letters and things, just to kind of, in case, you know, a blade jumps or whatever, something like that happens, my important information doesn't get cut off. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that. So I'm just gonna paste and paste again. I'm gonna make that this pretty cyan color. And I'm gonna offset path, and I'm actually gonna go negative. It's gonna go in.
Nice.
And I'm gonna make it dash. Why? Because apparently that's what we do sometimes. I actually never asked like why we did that. Just we do.
Yeah, I think it's so it's less distracting, right?
I think so, yeah. Some things I just never ask why. It's just what we do. It's like there's a reason why. And usually I'm like, you say why, so you know, you can tell people why. But, all right, so I'm gonna actually turn this into a template. And the reason why I turn this into a template layer is because whenever I save, export, these die lines, safe zones, bleeds, they're not gonna save to the final file, so they don't get printed. I'm also gonna label do not print.
So you know if it gets printed, somebody messed up.
Yeah, somebody messed up, they weren't watching. All right, there we go. And if you notice, it's different. There's not an I here. That's telling me that's a template layer.
And Annika says, tell me why, ... Is that a in-sync reference? Tell me why.
Oh God, don't age us.
Backstreet Boys. I don't know. Last week we got some random hip hop things happening. Like there was Soldier Boy happening in chat and Mike Jones references. So it's only fair that we go like Backstreet Boys in sync happening. I don't know which one it is. It's one of the two.
And I'm going to use some brushes that I created for my subscription deal. And I'm going to use those to kind of ink this bad boy up.
And if you're wanting to get those in chat, you can grab them on your subscription page on Behance, right?
Yes, you can. Just sign up for the subscription, and I am releasing a new brush pack every month, and I'm going to update some of the old ones. I'll double back around and kind of update those old ones.
Val is going off right now in chat, singing along. Oh my goodness. If you guys are tuning in on YouTube, make sure you come over to be.net/Adobe Live to also sing in chat your favorite NSYNC / Backstreet Boys songs today. So when you built these brushes, did you have a distinct kind of aesthetic or texture that you're trying to create?
This one, I was trying to get a feel for like linoleum, like woodcut. And then I was also thinking in terms of, I don't know why this is breaking. Oh, because I have, it's on dash. Oh my goodness, y'all. I was like, why is this breaking? This is not how it's supposed to work.
Bruce asks, is it as easy to make brushes in AI as it is in Photoshop?
I've never made brushes in Photoshop, so I honestly couldn't tell you. It's still dashing. All right, so I'm gonna come over here and I'm actually going to clear the appearance panel because I have it set to where it remembers.
I would assume, I think it's as easy as it is in Photoshop. I think so.
There it goes. All right.
Nice.
Now we got it. Actually, scroll out a bit. Yeah. So I made these with like the mindset that we're gonna be doing some like inking and stuff.
Yeah.
So my hand's a little shaky right now.
It's okay. I think you just need more coffee and that will sort itself out.
Oh my gosh, I had so much espresso today. I couldn't even, and I'm still like just so zombied out right now.
Yeah. I feel that. I personally love when my hands are doing things that I don't want them to do.
Yeah, like, so in high school, I discovered the magicalness of coffee, and I would have coffee before class, and art class was my very first class. So I'd make it to art class, and my hands were just like, and I'm like, okay, we can't create art like this. This is just not how it works. So all of my art in high school was just so insane.
Well, the great thing is if you are over caffeinated and you are drawing, it's a pretty much just a free roughen tool. And so it gives you a nice aesthetic. So
yeah.
There you go.
Let's bring it down a little bit more. Falling out of my chair. Scoop myself up a bit.
So how long does it typically take you to kind of build these kind of pencils? Because yours are really high fidelity.
Yeah, it just depends what I'm building. So I also made some grainy ones as well. So like these took a little bit longer because you have to go through, oh, those are really big. Let's zoom out and look at that. So you have to go through a little bit more of a process to kind of try them out and stuff. Mm-hmm. Whereas these lines didn't take as long. But there's always, it's just depending. Like right now I'm working on some charcoal ones and I know those are going to take a little bit longer.
Makes sense.
So, and these aren't really made for long strokes. They're more of short strokes, just kind of overlapping to get the line you want. Whereas in Photoshop, you can do more of those long linear strokes.
Yes.
Whereas here, we're doing more of like a short stroke overlapping them. So I'm doing a lot of erasing right now because I'm trying to get like that. I'm trying to warm up and get that feel for them.
Yeah. And you're using a pressure, right?
No, there's no pressure on these at all.
Oh, no.
No, because not everyone, so when I was making them, I also kept in mind that not everyone has a pad to work on.
True, that's a good point.
So you can also, you don't need a pad to do these. You can come in with a pen tool and make them. So they're gonna mimic pressure.
Yeah.
But there's no pressure involved.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's cool because then every time you're doing it, you kind of can replicate it.
That's why
stroke length.
Yeah, that way if you do these, if you do more of these like real short strokes, and then come back over them.
Yeah.
You get that feel like there's some pressure involved.
Learn something new every day.
Okay, let's count how many times I knocked this mic.
Have you ever done the mirror? I think it's in Photoshop only. Maybe it's in Illustrator now.
I actually have a different technique I use for mirroring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Yeah, I'm not going to use it on this one, so you'll have to watch the last Adobe Live that I did to get that technique, because I want this to be a little bit more organic and not so uniformed.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But because there is a mirroring on this one, and I like it, but it's really hard to get it to like release. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult to edit.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could also do it through just like horizontal, like duplicate it and horizontal flip it.
Yeah.
Simplify and then reuse some of the lines, I guess.
Do it that way.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, I think we got a flow going now. There we go. Okay, cool deal. Yeah, I'm feeling it now.
Nice. Yeah, it's looking cool. I'm really excited to see kind of as this gets kind of more inked in, how the layers and everything starts to come together.
Let's see. Let's bring up. Where is my? There it is. Little navigator panel.
Nice. Yeah, navigator is super helpful, especially when you're so zoomed in. Sometimes it's easy to get lost in the details.
I usually try to keep that up, especially when I'm streaming. I try to keep it up just so everyone can kind of see where I'm at. But I don't have a lot of space up here, so let's kind of move some stuff over a bit. There we go.
Laura's asking, is Kimmie working with a tablet? And you are, correct?
Yes, I'm working with a Huion Cathman's Pro 20. It's an older model, and they just came out with a newer model. I think it just has better Retina display. I'm not quite sure what's fancy about it.
Got it.
But
And it's got, I'm assuming that one has like a monitor built into it, correct?
yeah, it does have a monitor. Yes. I don't have very good hand-eye coordination, so I wouldn't be able to do much without one.
Yeah, I started off with one of the cheaper models that since Wacom had with just the no screens and stuff, and it's fine. I think you get used to it pretty quickly, but
yeah,
once
I have an Intuos. I have an Intuos as a backup.
Yeah.
Just in case, you never know. But I mostly used it for like editing photos and stuff because I found it was a little bit easier.
Oh yeah, so
to
much
use it
easier.
that way.
Yeah.
But other than that, I find this is awesome, and it's like a third of the price of a Cintiq.
True. Yeah. They can get pretty expensive really quick, but definitely, especially if you're doing a lot of editing or drawing illustrations, they're kind of worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
Because it just simplifies things. And I've built mine out to be kind of like a third monitor so that I could kind of have it to work from, or also just...
Yeah, that's what I use mine for. It's a secondary monitor.
Yeah, it's great. Highly recommend for all those people that are super big about efficiency workflows.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Exactly.
I'm just using like super short strokes, trying to get all that in there. When I zoom in so much, it's really hard to even see what I had drawn.
Yep. That's why we got that navigator panel for.
Yeah, which is also very tiny.
Yes, it's kind of two extremes.
Yeah, let's back up a little bit. You always want to zoom out too, because if you zoom out, you'll even notice what, like, these two are really thick in comparison to the rest. Oops. Yep. Let's go down with those.
That is the great thing about having these kind of be strokes, is that you can quickly go in and refine some of the stroke widths just really quickly.
Yeah, I love illustrating in Illustrator. 'Cause for me, it's just so much easier to make edits.
Yeah, absolutely. Annika's asking, what's the story behind this illustration, Kimmie?
It's almost Halloween, and I really like skulls.
It is almost Halloween. That's weird.
I'm forcing it. I'm forcing it.
I love looking at his eyeballs. I'm just constantly, I feel like I'm getting sucked into the painting. And he's just stealing
He's
my
like
soul.
just really intense. He's just really intense.
Please save me from the heat. What is that?
It's so hot.
Josh J is asking, Kimmie, how much hot sauce do you eat or use?
My husband eats all the hot sauce.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a good question. I got to do a hot sauce design on Adobe Live a long time ago, pre-COVID. And Paco and the crew brought in hot wings. We got to do them on stream, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
It was so good. Yeah, we kept doing like hot ones, like references throughout the whole stream. So wow. It was delicious.
I did. Going back to my big box of labels, I stripped one of the hot sauce bottles in the fridge. So
awesome.
My husband's gonna be really happy when he gets home and he sees that.
Yeah, exactly.
It was for the art.
You don't understand. Let's see here. Laura's saying that they had to give up multiple monitors due to traveling, but I miss it. Yeah, having multiple monitors is really clutch. Voodoo Val's asking, what are your favorite go-to tools in Illustrator that you can't live without, Kimmie?
The pen tool.
The pen tool. Classic.
The pen tool.
That's kind of the go-to reason why you would use Illustrator anyways. So,
well,
makes sense.
The irony about the pen tool is I hated the pen tool for the longest time, and it ended up being my go-to So the pen tool and the brush tool are like my two favorite.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, I think everybody when they're first starting to use Illustrator has a love-hate relationship with the pen tool, especially if you're coming from like Photoshop's pen tool. There's a lot more differences in how both of them were used originally.
Oh, I was adamant that I was not going to use the pen tool. Like, I don't need the pen tool. I'm going to create without the pen tool. Just wait and see. And then I humbly come back like, okay, I need the pen tool. I need the pen tool. And now me and the pen tool are like the best of friends.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. I'm so glad this had a happy ending to your story.
Right. Sometimes you have to humble down.
Exactly.
So even though I'm not mirroring these, I am kind of watching both sides as I go. And I'm actually holding it from way back here as I'm drawing. Ironically enough.
I like to hold mine way out at the eraser end, just to make it as difficult as possible.
Like it's gonna affect the line in any way. I'm just gonna whip that line real quick.
Annika had a really good idea. She said, "Oh, it'd be crazy if the skeleton eyes were bloodshot after eating the hot sauce."
Oh my gosh, Annika, that is such a good idea.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love it. Okay, so I'm like just slightly increasing my line weight as well. So that's where I'm making a lot of my adjustment, is just through that stroke.
Those were two perfect strokes. Not to be backseating you, but that is beautiful. Right. I'm so awful at doing rounded shapes for some reason whenever I doodle. So I'm just admiring.
So growing up, I would hold my pencil so tight, and I would just admit that I would just get like the perfect, like my wrist would just cut, like those curves and those A's were going to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a little robot was writing for me. And I still grip my pencil so tight, my wrist hurts at the end of the day. But
pro tip for those at home, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. You will get carpal tunnel. There we go. And a lot of it is in the brush that I'm using too. It's not me, it's the brush, which I created, so it's kind of me.
Fergie was saying, what if it was like that because of the cutout? So the color was the sauce. So like the color of the eyes on the skeleton.
I was thinking about that too, making it a die. That's what's called, a die cut.
Yeah, on like a transparent backing.
Yeah, just cutting that out, because I was thinking about doing like a section over here where you can monitor how much of your hot sauce is left. I was thinking about doing something like that, but also putting that in the eyes would be a really good idea as well.
Yeah. Are you going to print these out and put them on some bottles? Or
I thought about doing that. Yeah, so that's like another really good idea, collecting bottles and things like that, because you can always rip off whatever packaging's on it, put your packaging on it, and then voila, have a little photo shoot.
Exactly. And it looks really good when you do that.
It looks real. It looks like you actually made something. So and you don't have to fuss with mock-ups, and you get to flex your photography skills.
Yeah, all great things. And you don't need a crazy setup to do good photos. Like these days, cameras are really good. If you do have a pro camera equipment setup, great, but you don't need it. Don't let that be like the thing keeping you from taking photos of your own mock-ups or bottles or packaging pieces. Like you can do this all from the comforts of your own living room. Or you can take your bottle or packaging to a restaurant and put it on the shelf.
And go to the grocery store and just knock a couple bottles down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what companies do to see how their product was sent out on the aisle anyways. So,
and you do always want to keep that in mind as well when you're designing, is your facing side, what's going to be facing the customer, how much of it's going to be facing the customer, and as well as your FDA regulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's required to be on that front, how big it's supposed to be, all of that good stuff. Because I do have a pretty binder of FDA design regulations. Yes. So I keep all of that handy.
There's a lot of rules in there.
Yeah, I mean,
depending on the industry you're doing the packaging for, there's even more rules.
There's it breaks down, like juice has its own section.
Yeah.
And regulations just for something as simple as juice. And you want to make sure you follow all of that, because nothing's worse than when you pay to send that off and then it comes back to you and it's like, okay, we got to fix this, this, and this. And you're just like, I thought we were done with this. Because I don't know about anybody else, but when I'm done with something, I do not want it to come back across my desk. It's like, we finished. I don't want to bill you again for it.
Yep.
And you don't want to be billed again for it.
Annika says, oh, the nutrition information always gets me. Yeah, nutrition information is hard to make look very pretty.
It is very hard, and you know what? I appreciate the people that do. I appreciate the people who can make it look aesthetically pleasing, but still make it accessible and legible.
Yeah, that's
because that is so challenging.
Yeah, I kind of phoned it in on that because I don't want it to. The worst part is like, especially if it's like an alcohol packaging thing, things like that like get regulated pretty heavily.
Yeah.
I don't want to have clients' designs get like essentially declined because of nutrition table being like fancy. Like that's not an opportunity to flex the brand, whereas the rest of the bottle is. So
yeah,
I take the wins where we can get them.
Okay, so like all these dark parts, I'm actually going to just come back in and fill them in with a pen tool. I'm kind of dance around them real quick. It's a little bit too close.
So just to remind chat today we're working on the label design, and then tomorrow we're going to be doing the type, correct?
Yes, we'll probably wrap up some more label design. We'll do some type, and whatever we don't finish, I do stream, and that's probably where we'll wrap everything up. So don't fret. I usually like to make sure we'll wrap it up in some way. You'll get to see it. If it's not here, it'll be on my personal streams. And then there's always replays.
Perfect. And Annika says, save. So don't forget to save.
Yes. I always do forget to save.
And Alex says, save and drink water. There we go. There you go, chat. Thank you.
All right.
Voodoo Val is asking, Kimmie, could you share with us an experience where your client feedback process didn't go well and how you dealt with it? It's a great question, Val.
I love feedback. I really do. One time it didn't go well is when the client told me everything is basically the same. It's like, well, you just use the same elements for everything. And I was just like, well, it's kind of how that works. That's not what I said. What did you say? I actually think about that a lot. No, I actually respected that feedback. My naive little child brain thought that, but I did respect that feedback, and I actually fall back on that feedback a lot. No, I said thank you. I appreciate that feedback, and I took that stuff home and I changed it up. I tried to make it different because I did. I used the same thing and I put it everywhere, and I didn't create enough variations to really make everything look different, individualized, unique for each piece, but yet still tie it together. So there wasn't enough to where you could look at it and know each part of that concept was different, but yet you could still look at it and realize it was all part of the same concept. And I actually fall back and think on that a lot when I'm designing. So that was some really good feedback that I was given. And anytime I get feedback, even if it's not the best feedback, I can normally find something out of it. And that's just the way you have to look at feedback. You can't, don't put your feelings and emotion into it. Just find something out of it, because art is so subjective. Not everything's for everybody. I know there's somebody out there that does not like this skull, and that's okay. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. It's not.
Yeah, I totally agree. And your job as a designer or as an artist is to kind of understand what those pain points are, so that you can kind of, some people are very explicit and very direct with their feedback. Others are a little bit cagier and a little bit more reserved with it, but not really giving you the information to be successful with the changes or the modifications or updates. And so your job is to kind of unpack that. And if you get really good at that, you'll be able to kind of grow your career really, really rapidly.
Yeah, and I thrive on feedback, good feedback, bad feedback. I thrive on it because I can really dive into it and dissect it and break it down into something usable.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there's always something usable. So, and at the time it may have like kind of hurt my little ego a little bit, but at the time also I thought that's what design was, and that is not what design was, clearly. So it's something I can definitely take and utilize to this day. Yeah. Is this design working? Do all of these elements flow together in that they're all cohesive and work with each other, but they're all different?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, I have to remind people that, design or art is, well, not really art necessarily, but design is definitely it's a service industry. Like, you are all about kind of servicing your clients and different, relationships with different clients. Some people are a little bit more like, we're going to solve your problems. Others need to kind of be a little bit more, here's the task that I'm doing for the client. I just need to keep them happy. And those are all great things to kind of remember, that at the end of the day, you're providing a service to them. And so you got to keep them happy if you want to get more work. But Vudaval asked another great question. Have you ever had a client that asked way too much of you and demanded something unreasonable?
Oh, yeah. I had one person wanted like a bunch of illustrations in such a short time period. I sent him a quote, but I ended up not actually working with that one individual. A lot of times it's just revisions. They just want a lot of revisions.
Yep.
So something I noticed is just set your expectations early. You don't have to be direct. You don't have to be rude. Just you're just as much as a professional as they're a professional. Set your expectations early, and really define your boundaries. It's not saying, oh, I'm not gonna let this person walk all over me. You're being very clear as a designer and as an individual. I'm not providing X amount of unlimited design revisions, where we can do 3 revisions, and then any revisions going further will cost X amount. Just make sure that that's clearly set, and then just kind of let them know when they're getting close to it that we kind of need to whittle it down and figure it out from there. Just be very communicative. I find, especially when I first started out, I wasn't communicative enough and was pretty taken advantage of. Well, not so much, because some of it was my fault because I wasn't communicative enough. Yeah. So don't be afraid to communicate, because if you communicate efficiently, you'll get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing worse than like surprising your client with, hey, we're out of scope now. You have to pay more. But if you're communicating along the way, you can be like, we're getting closer and closer to your budget being used up, and we're going to have to adjust scope or accept the work as it is. So that's a great way of putting it.
And you'll actually find if if you tell them you're getting close, their feedback gets a lot clearer. It's not as ambiguous and vague. It's a lot more direct. And like, I think we know what we want now. So, and not everyone in the client pool has an opinion. Suddenly everyone, that dwindles down. Oh my goodness. Swing that mic around. Not everyone in the office suddenly has input.
Absolutely.
So
Bernadette has a wonderful question. Kimmie, do you ever have to remind your clients about accessibility and why it's important? When I was younger, learning web design in college, I'd been the first student to make my tutor consider it.
Yes, I do. Yes. Yes, because I have dyslexia and accessibility applies to me 100% every day of the week. And I actually worked for a company that did not take accessibility into mind. They did not take hierarchy into mind. And I would get things come across my desk and I would send them an email and I would flat out tell them, this is not accessible. And they'd be like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. And I can tell you that just from a standpoint of a person with a disability reading this. In school, I would have people, they would want me to review their work from a standpoint of someone with a disability. And they're like, hey, Kimmie, is this accessible? Does this even read? And I could tell you yes or no. I still have people contact me from college. Does this read right? Do these colors work? Accessibility in like packaging, paper, flyers is a thing and is just as important as web design. It's not talked about as much, but you can ask my husband. I talk about it until I'm blue in the face, and I'm probably the first person to get frustrated when I get something and I can't read it.
Yep.
So
that's funny. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that colors are, they could be a big hindrance to accessibility and readability, which that translates actually really well into what the Val says. That's something I've faced many times, a client being very set on using certain colors or fonts, not knowing how hard it is to see or read than it can be for some people, which is very true.
I see it in especially today in logos. I see it a lot in logos today, and I really discourage, and no offense if this is something you love, it's a very trendy aesthetic right now. It's the watercolor brush logos with the script. It's beautiful aesthetic. I can't read it. I personally cannot read that. But I see it a lot. And I have to just simply tell clients that it's a trend now, but will this work later? Will this also be something that we can read later on? And we just got to take that walk through. Sometimes you just have to guide your client through like a little, let's take a journey, and just walk them through it. And sometimes that helps a little bit more. Your client, they don't know. They don't know. And you just simply need to break it down for them. That's why they're hiring you. You are the professional. You know. You're there to help them and guide them. That's why they need your help.
Yeah, absolutely. I love all these questions around accessibility.
I'm a hand talker. I'm not getting much work done. I'm just like,
No, you're good. No worries. Stoney says blue lit words on buildings are so hard to read. It's really interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Script words are always difficult, but some things that I have trouble with is just a me thing, and I just have to accept that. But other things, I asked my husband, I'm like, what do you think that says? And he's like, exactly what you think it says. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. So then you're just like, do they even know? Do they know?
They don't know.
They don't know. They don't even know. Nobody's gonna know.
Like there's like all those fail logos things where you don't realize what happened until, it's already public and on a building, and then the shapes make inappropriate shape language.
I love
like
those. I love those. Are something I notice a lot on Instagram too is when people want to not young designers, but designers just starting out, and I'm always guilty of it myself. So I mean, I'm not going to talk about it if I didn't do it. And you want to redesign a well-established logo.
Yeah.
Like I'll see someone wanting to do redo FedEx, and they're like, it's so much easier to read. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You just connected these two letters and now it makes a completely different symbol. I don't know what this is saying. What are you doing? Stop it.
Yeah, my least favorite thing is to see like UX or UI changes of like products. I love like when people can build their own. I love when people build their own, fake branding projects or packaging projects and make them look super real and interesting, and that they kind of solve their own they show that they have creative chops, and it's really talented.
Yeah.
I don't like it when I see like redesigns of like Facebook or Twitch or things like that, because you don't have the full context of like what those business goals are. And yes, you can make something look really pretty, but it's not solving the problem. And as a designer, I want to know that you can solve problems if I'm going to hire you.
It was done. It was done that way for a reason. Like until you know more about the whys, you can't really go in there and start breaking the walls down.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's not possible. You can't do that.
Yeah. But if you do want to make your own fake project, you can do it with like making your own ice cream brand, making a website for them, a brand, a packaging site for it, like all those great things. So you can still scratch those itches.
Yeah. The ones I really love is when people take packaging and they just make these unique folds, and it's like an adventure, like opening these packagings and just trying to figure these out, and it's just so interesting. I love when things can be used as other things.
Yes. Absolutely.
So when people come up with stuff like that, that's so intuitive. Or when I can buy, I don't know, face cream, but the packaging is reusable as a planter or something. Yeah. Like to me, that's intuitive, and that's where we need to be going. Not taking, I don't know, a UX design and moving the buttons around. That just drives me nuts.
It's funny. Do you have any types of packages that you just, if you see it at the store, you're absolutely buying it just out of pure design, needing it in your life?
I'm the person who buys beer based on the packaging.
Oh, for sure.
It don't matter what it tastes like. I'm buying it based on the packaging.
Yeah, and if it tastes great, then it's definitely going back in the cart again the next time.
Right? Well, half the time, if it's got amazing packaging and it tastes great, they're not going to have it next year.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because I've had some pretty spectacular beers with amazing packaging. I've never seen them again. I'm like, why? Yeah. Come back. I need that back in my life. Wine bottles always purchased based on packaging. I don't think I've ever bought it because it was like a great wine experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think wine is one of those super complicated industries that as a new consumer into it, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of information out there, and there's very huge differences in price points. And so we're looking for the first thing that like makes sense to us. And if it's a design that stands out to you, then you're kind of just like, yes, please.
Yep.
Stoney was saying that I've seen quite a few IPA labels now. Sorry, I lost that. Hold on. I've seen quite a few IPA labels now that on billboards that remind me of the streams on here. Absolutely. And also, similarly, I've found fonts in IRL advertising. Sometimes I realize that I know where they're from because of the Adobe live stream or others.
That's so awesome. That's something else I really liked doing when I was younger. I liked redrawing fonts.
Ooh, fonts are so hard. Like, there's just so much work.
Yeah, isn't there like coding that goes into fonts or something? Like,
Yes, there's
yeah,
there's like building it out in kerning and like I forget the software piece that you need for it, but essentially you create the like the spacing for each letter between each letter, and you set that,
yeah.
and then have the program run. I think. I don't know. I've never built my own custom typeface. Maybe somebody in chat knows. Chat, if you know how to build custom typefaces, please let us know. We would love to learn more from you. And Vudavel asks, Kimmie and Alex, what is your favorite kind of package to design? And then the second question in that is, which kind of item do you never get tired of designing for?
Beer labels.
Beer labels?
I love designing beer labels because everyone is just so aesthetically different. I don't like having a defined style. I like having that freedom to do something different every time. Like if you go to my portfolio, nothing just really, you can't narrow it down. It's just so different.
Yeah.
So I like having the freedom to do that.
Yeah, totally.
So
do you have a specific beer type that you like to design around mostly, or just any beer works for you?
Just any kind. I don't like IPA. But other than that, I mean, it just, as far as drinking, I'm not a fan of it.
It's fair.
But I'll design for it. It don't matter.
Okay.
Sorry, IPA drinkers.
Bliss was saying, I've used FontForge. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about FontForge. Annika says FontForge is a great free cross-platform one as well. So, FontForge. And then to answer Val's question, for me, I like to design packaging any bottle typically. Like if it's for a bottle, I think it's a really interesting design challenge to like either design a brand new bottle or design the labeling to interact with it in a really interesting way. But I'm not the biggest fan of just like doing a box. Like a box packaging isn't that exciting for me.
Yeah, that box has to be something pretty unique. Like it's got to have some interesting folds or a die cut. It's got to have something about it that's just really, really interesting.
Yeah. The box for me is mostly like an add-on deliverable when I'm working with a client. Yeah. It's not the like end-all be-all. So
yeah, and a lot of times it's what's ever on the bottle's usually going on the box anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oops.
Ryan says font self plugin for Illustrator is pretty easy to use. Okay, all right. I'll have to check that out sometime. Garth says I've 3D printed and motorized a full-size BB-8. Holy moly, Gareth.
What is that?
I think Vudaval's going to be wanting you to ship her one now. You said, what is that?
Yeah, what is that?
BB-8 is the little like character from Star Wars.
Oh,
little,
okay. That's
orange ball thing.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, wait, I think I know what that is.
Somebody asked, is it real difficult to get a package design? No, it's not. So like we're kind of saying earlier, like if you wanted to get into packaging design, recommend you just grabbing a bottle and finding a shape or a concept that you like. Say like right now we're doing a hot sauce packaging. Grab a hot sauce bottle. She sketched it originally to get the dimensions and shapes. You can bring those into Illustrator, copy that down essentially, and then design your label and then go get it printed at a sticker company.
Yep.
And then slap it on a bottle and take some photos of it and then put it in a portfolio. And then people will be like, oh my gosh, this person could do.
Yep, this looks real. Cool.
Looks real. Exactly. So not hard. All it takes is just showing people sometimes what you're capable of doing for them to hire you to do it.
Yeah, that's really all it is.
Greg asked, what software and process do you use to mock up your packaging projects? I'll let you take that one.
I'm still old school. I just purchased Photoshop mockups off of Creative Market.
Yeah, there you go. You can do that. You can do that, or you can use Adobe Dimension. There's a bunch of free cans and wine bottles and other things in there that you can use, or you can build your own 3D mock-up and then bring it into dimension.
I highly recommend just getting an actual physical product, pulling the whatever the label is, getting that dimension, designing per that, getting it printed, and just put it right on top of that. That way you have a physical item, and getting pictures, because you can even get a picture of a person holding it, and you don't have to like play with lighting, and it's so much better.
Yeah.
And it just looks so much real. No one's really going to question your project as much. Because a lot of things I would get asked whenever I would do my mock-ups is that real or is that a mock-up? And it's just, you having to go in there, it's a made-up project. Whereas if it's someone just kind of holding the product and lighting it, they're less likely to ask you questions.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it becomes easier to get approvals from the clients when I have the tangible product in hand for them. So I typically, as the designs are getting a little bit more close to final, I'll bring them into like actually getting the labels manufactured at a small batch. It is going to cost you money to do it that way, but it's well worth it, especially if you can get the process done faster. But yeah, just do a small batch print. Most print shops are like very accommodating and very just like helpful. And so find one that will work with you. And oftentimes they know that you're looking at this to get client approval. So they're not expecting a huge batch, and they'll be really helpful because if you're pitching to them, pitching to the client, they know that they'll probably get the business for the larger batch. So they're pretty accommodating. But you can just do it in dimension if you want to as well. It's all up to you guys. But yeah,
however you want to do it. But the client always wants to see it mock. I think I've only ever had one client go, I don't need a mock-up. I don't need none of that. And I was just like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I don't need none of that. I was like, okay, let's do this. Like that was the happiest thing I've ever heard. Because I was like, I don't have to sit here and mess with a mock-up. All right.
Yeah, I typically have a couple different mock-ups that I'll show a client throughout the process that they're kind of more like earlier in the conversations, it's more of like a very light wireframe.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Photoshop mock-up necessarily, because I think that it can skew the conversation.
It can also not give you as the designer correct proportions on where everything's going to sit on that item.
Correct.
And I learned that a lot with t-shirt mock-ups. People just tend to slap them on there and it's not accurately sized. Not very many, unless it's a big brand screen printer, is going to print from like up here all the way down to the bottom of the shirt. Like that's just not going to happen, not realistically. And if you show a client that's their expectations, and it's just not possible a lot of the time. So you just have to be very realistic when it comes to those mock-ups as well. So having that physical product and just printing it out on a printer, cutting it out and just kind of putting it on there gives you a more realistic idea of how everything's going to fit versus Photoshop and stuff like that.
And I always love doing that for just gut checking.
Yeah.
Is this legible, right? Like we were talking about the nutritional contents.
Yep, earlier. That too.
Like all the government warnings for certain packaging, like all that stuff needs to be considered. And if you're printing it too small, it's better to catch it on your own printer first before trying to get it mocked up and sent to the client or paying money for stickers.
Yeah, and put it on a shelf, step back, think about how far away a customer is going to be from that item. What's the most important thing they need to see? If it's like a vegan food item and that's really what the company wants to push first, then you need to make sure that's more prominent. And if it's like white vegan words on a yellow background, they're not going to be able to see it on a shelf from, 3 feet away. So you really just need to take all of those things into consideration when you're designing, and printing those things out, putting them on a shelf, taking a step back is going to give you more realistic expectations of those things.
Yeah, I agree completely. Greg says a screen printer I used to work for always suggested about a size of a sheet of paper horizontally on the shirt, no bigger.
Yep.
I think my biggest pet peeve when working with clients is wanting to print logos at like 5 inches on a t-shirt, and it's like that was supposed to be a breast pocket design.
It's 3.5 inches is like the max, and I would send them the mock-up. It's like, can we make it bigger? I'm like, I can make it as big as you want on the mock-up. I'm not printing it that big. Like, it's just not practical. You're going to end up with like a giant hand size image, and you're going to want reprints. Like, it's just not practical, and they just don't realize that. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know 3.5 is kind of like the go-to, but I always say like 2.5, 2, depending on the logo, obviously. But yeah, I try to keep it small. I'm more of like I like to have a little bit more contrast and let people like get excited about like what's there versus just a billboard on everything all the time.
yeah, like get in there, read it, start a
exactly.
conversation.
Yeah, there's like an old saying, and I'm gonna butcher it, but it's all about like if you yell at people, they back away, but if you whisper, they'll lean in. It's that same kind of mantra that I try to bring into all my designs.
I'm actually just gonna draw a circle.
Josh asked, does the skull have a mustache? Can he? I don't think that the mustache is in the cards for today, but would be fun. Mustaches are always fun.
I mustache you a question.
So good.
My dog had a little mustache on him when he was a puppy.
Oh yeah.
It was so cute. That's just a random fun fact. He had a little mustachio.
That's awesome. And then the mask changed and no more mustache.
No more mustache.
Oh, sad face.
Where did your cute little mustachio go? He's gonna hear me talking about him and come in here like, why are you talking about me?
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes I just like to switch it up a bit. Okay.
So with this blue opacity, what is what are you doing with that?
Oh, all I'm doing is cutting this out. I'm still doing the outlines. I just wasn't getting the line circle that I wanted. So I'm just popping over here.
So you just knocked out the shape.
Yeah, I'm just knocking that out. That's all I'm doing.
Cool.
Nothing special. Then I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller. Let's see, I'm gonna go down probably about 50. Yes, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, doing eyes like this is very challenging because you're kind of trying to make them still read like perfect circles, but they can't be perfect circles because that's not the hand-drawn feeling.
And that's why I'm just kind of going through and I'm using these brushes to kind of outline it. And it's going to give me that little wobbly line that we're a little used to.
Yeah.
And I'm just using this for the eyes, and then I'll go back to doing it the other way. Go back to drawing. Go back to our regular paid programming. There we go. Let's do... Whoop. Good deal.
It's looking good. I'm seeing it in the navigator, and out of the whole context of everything, it's just the parts that you've inked in right now are they're sticking out. Very bright. His eyes are staring into my soul.
Do you feel it?
I feel it.
I feel very watched. There we go.
Yeah, that's looking great.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, these brushes ended up doing a lot better than I had thought they would. I was just like, okay, so what part should we move on to next? Let me see. This face is pretty much done. I can keep inking, or we can fill his face in and just finish out his whole face.
You're the expert. You tell me. What do you want to do?
What do y'all want to see? Chat.
Yeah, chat. You tell us. Which part do you want her to work on next?
Do you want to keep inking? Do we want to, or do you want me to fill this face in and then? Just kind of finish out this little hairline here.
Annika says also save.
Yeah. Anytime you come to like a point where you're just like, all right, feeling it, it's always a good idea to save.
Annika, you just missed out on her turning off this sketch for a second, but we can do it again in a sec.
Yeah, let me just fix these lines. I need to go up a little bit.
Alex says, fill his face. I can't have these eyes judging me forever. So funny. Yeah, it looks awesome. He's got like little squirrel teeth. Exactly.
It's just very intense.
Yeah, it's like the Ice Age little squirrel.
All right, so I want to fill it in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to show y'all how I'm going to fill this in. Come in here. First thing I'm going to do is duplicate, just in case we mess anything up. Merge it. I'm just going to turn it off. Let's expand it. Merge all that together. All right. Boop. I'm gonna divide and ungroup. Just delete that background. It's kind of where we're at.
Nice. It's looking great.
So now we can go ahead and just add some shadows. Let's do this blue color. And I guess we can just stick with the same brush for now. See how it does us. Might need to change it. So actually, we need to move this down a layer. We're just going to create a sandwich. We'll lock those two pieces, and then we're going to add the shadows in between the two. Solid.
Rico's mind blown. What is this magic?
Outline. Shadow.
Nice. Yeah, this is looking great. Voodoo Bell says, Kimmie, this is looking awesome, all caps. So there you go.
Oh no. Make a couple adjustments to that.
So you're adding shadows in as well?
Yeah, we're just gonna add some shadows in here.
Oh.
And I'm just gonna sandwich them in between the two. Oh. Let's see. Get a fuller brush. There we go.
Nice, that's looking awesome.
Yeah, and then I can just kind of move these ends, kind of fill that in a little bit more. That's pretty much how that's going to work. So I'm just going to toggle between these two brushes, I think. Let me... Yeah, that'll work.
So are you gonna keep this blue as your kind of shadow color? Or is this just placeholder stuff right now as you're kind of just laying things in?
Might just be placeholder for now. Blue doesn't feel very hot unless it's like
That's true. Good point.
blue hot, but it's hot head, so his head is hot.
Mm.
So I'm thinking red for the hair.
Yeah. We could kind of also get the like kind of like overprint vibes with it too. If you wanted to like contrast the blue with like the red, you can have a little bit of that like chromatic aberration stuff. So you have lots of options. It's still early.
Yeah. And it's global color, so I mean, it's pretty easy to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh J asks, Alex Lazarus, how does one subscribe to Kimmie? So if you click up on the info tab, you can check out her Behance. And then from there, you can go to the subscribe button and click the subscribe button, and it's $7 a month. And you get all the source files, all the live stream content, all the premium project content, and the brushes. You get one brush every month.
You get a pack of brushes every month.
Pack of brushes. There you go.
Yeah.
Not just one brush. Sorry.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna hide like any projects or anything like that. That's still gonna be available for everybody. So I don't want there to be like any confusion. So streams are still free. Playbacks are still free. It's just those extra bits that I take the extra time to create. That's what's going to be a part of the subscription. Access to any source files, that's what's going to be a part of the subscription. You know, stuff like that. I'm not really going to hide any of the inspirational stuff that would normally be on Behance for free. I'm not going to like make you pay for any of that. That would just be kind of redundant.
Absolutely. Ziad says, is she using a mouse to draw? No, she's got her tablet. So she's got a drawing tablet, and then she is drawing directly into Illustrator through that.
Yes.
But you can also do it through a mouse. And she's built her brushes so that you can use a mouse with them. And you don't have to worry about pressure sensitivity or anything like that.
Yeah, these brushes are not designed for pressure sensitivity. You can use a mouse because I know not everyone owns a tablet. And I believe everyone should be able to design.
True. Yes, and her Instagram is at instagram.com/KimmieJDesigns.
Yeah, I design the things. That one kind of went all the way off.
Alex says, pack of brushes for every month. Best deal ever.
Right?
True. It's true.
So you don't have to leave the site and go to Creative Market. You just stay on Behance and get the brushes there.
Yep.
So it's really just no difference.
Behance is the one-stop shop for all of your creative needs now.
Right? There's been so many times I've wandered onto Behance, looked through a project, and then it relinked me to Creative Market, and I'm just like, well, why can't I just get the brushes here on Behance? Why am I being moved? I don't want to go somewhere else. And now you don't have to go anywhere else.
Chat, we have about 40 minutes left. If you have any questions for Kimmie in the process of this. Wow, that's looking really good.
Yeah, hit me up with your questions, chat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna get into the zone, get really, really quiet on you guys. So let's entertain each other.
What is your favorite project you've ever worked on?
My favorite project, probably the Lush beer label that's in there. That would be my favorite like client project. And then my favorite personal project, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be that creepy cat with that bird. Because he has just the cutest wrinkles, and they were just so much fun to do. And that was done in Illustrator.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you can do amazing things in Illustrator.
You can.
You really can, guys. Like, you can do some pretty high def drawings.
I worked at a company for a long time that we did all of our website work in Illustrator. And it was awesome because everything was already vectorized for us to make it into motion or billboards or anything like that. But a lot of the work that we did was kind of digital, but it worked just beautifully because Illustrator has such great, tools, and typesetting for me is way more fun in Illustrator than it is in Photoshop or.
Oh yeah. I do prefer typesetting in InDesign.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is just as good a quality in Illustrator. I'm not gonna lie. So I just do it in
I have old
Illustrator.
friends that used to, back when web was first starting, they used InDesign only for websites, which makes sense because you set your character styles in that. You got your H1s through H whatevers, and then you can export everything. You can package up all the images to export immediately, and all the copies kind of there. It made a lot of sense. I've never designed a website though in InDesign. Maybe one day.
Me either. I either did it in Illustrator or XD.
Yeah.
Some of these are just easier to fill in with the pen tool. Let's see, get a little peekage. Okay, no.
So how did you learn to do your illustration style? Is it just something that's just happened naturally over the years?
I don't like to think I have a real specific illustration style. My tool is more my style, because I feel like I'm all over the place. If I have a style, awesome. Because I'll get people contact me and they're like, "We really like your style," and I'm like, "Which one?"
That's so funny. Yeah, I feel like you have a defined style.
It's kind of everywhere.
Yeah,
but
well, I think when you take a step back, I think you'd probably be able to see your style because it's obvious to me, but maybe not so much whenever you're so stuck in it.
Yeah, I think I'm just so in it. So I like to think more or less I use Illustrator, so Illustrator is definitely my style. And then there's a lot of like this layering complexity that's there. I noticed that a lot. But for me to sit there and break it down, I don't really see it. But it's just a lot of me just working over the years and just kind of fell into it, more or less. Totally fair.
It took me a long time to realize that I had a style that I kind of gravitated towards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just do what the client needs.
Yeah.
But
it's like, they say they want this and I do that. They show me a picture. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's what I do.
Exactly. Alex Design says, your style is so cool. Smiley face with sunglasses.
Oh, thank you, Alex.
Also drink some water. Thanks, Alex. Willa says, so cool. Renman says, Raneem says, wow. So everybody's loving this. It's looking really good. I'm loving the shadows, kind of adding that little extra details right now.
Yeah, and y'all can do this. I have all the tools out there for you guys. I believe in being able to provide that for you. So they're out there. Just go subscribe. You'll get them. And then next time I'm live on stream, you can design along with me. I mean, I'm not going to keep that from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy doing that. I do have a small teaching background. I did work with individuals with disabilities. So just that's part of my background as well. So just being able to kind of break down concepts and things like that and just provide them. Yeah. It's just enjoyable. That's why I love Adobe Live so much. is just being able to put together projects for people, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. Ziad says, I'm using a mouse to draw, and I like to make vector illustrations from low quality pixelated images. Yeah, using a mouse to draw is super, super viable.
Those really high def, hyper realistic images on my Behance, I used a mouse for that. Yeah.
And if anybody's here is familiar with the Forefathers group, Amir is an incredible illustrator. He works over there, and he only uses his trackpad on his laptop, and he does some wicked illustrations.
I can feel my hand cramping up.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Oh my
bonkers.
gosh.
But yeah, he doesn't even pencil anything. He just starts doing it, and it's bananas to me.
Okay, somehow I've switched to... Let me go back
the
to
pen tool.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, where am I
at? But also, Ziad, be careful if you're just tracing images, because you could get in a lot of trouble just from tracing. So try to make things kind of your own, just in case you might run into some issues later on.
But if you're tracing for practice purposes, totally cool. Just don't post any of that.
Exactly. You don't want Moyers knocking on your door.
Oh gosh, yeah, cease and desist. I've got I've never gotten one, but I got letters to go. So
Voodoo Val says, I don't think a lot of people recognize their own style. People say I have a style too, but when I look at my portfolio, all I see is a bunch of work, bunch of art that looks like it was made by all different people. And I absolutely know your style, Voodoo Val, but probably because I've been a longtime fan, longtime subscriber, longtime arch nemesis.
Arch nemesis. She's my nemesis.
only in chat. Only because she, believes that memes are pronounced memes and not memes.
Not memes. Yeah. That actually, there's a meme out there where the woman's like, I don't know that meme. I did not post that meme.
That's amazing. I need to find that.
And I'm just like, wait, what is this lady talking about? The meme? And that's actually, that's what my niece calls her blanket, is the meme.
That's so funny.
Where's my meme? I was like, I don't know where your meme is at.
But it says we are friends, but also enemies. So like frenemies. Yeah, pretty much.
That's a thing.
And this is where the enemies part comes in, when she starts hearing the memes jokes. We were having a nice moment. Sorry, Val.
We were finally connecting.
Val says, I update my Behance with all the newest work and best work more than Instagram. Good call.
I forget I have an Instagram.
Yeah. And it goes like, why you do this? So good. Oh, classic Adobe live chat. And if you are watching on YouTube or somewhere else, make sure you come over to be.net/Adobe Live so that you can catch up on all the memes and all the things that we're doing here.
Catch up. Know what we're talking about when we say comic papyrus.
Exactly. If you don't know, now you know. Hopefully.
Because it's only the best font out there.
The best. So good. Alex Designs is almost trying to work up a new tagline for you. Subscribe to Kimmie, get those great savings on brushes, and also save your work.
Save your work. Drink your water. It's delicious. Yeah. I don't know. I was never good at taglines.
Do a whole campaign around the savings.
Let's bump that up. It's like he's staring in your soul.
Bernadette says you've been told off again by Voodoo Val, Alex. I have. It's okay. It's fine. We got to have this relationship. It's like a family thing, like there's little moments of tension in your family, and that's okay.
If you don't have good competition, what keeps you going?
What keeps you going, Kimmie? That's what I want to
Me?
know. Yes.
Oh man, I just love to create. Actually, if I'm not learning and innovating, I'm stuck, and I don't like being stuck.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is the one great thing about our field, is that there's constantly something that you can do to learn, or something slips you up, or a project comes in the way. You have to solve a lot of problems. And I think that's just one of the greatest joys that we have.
Yeah. And our programs are constantly updating.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Illustrator updated and you had to press E to stretch and move things, I was like, what is this? And now I'm like, I love E.
So funny.
E is my new best friend.
Bliss says, the eyes give me old Scooby-Doo cartoon vibes. I think that the opening, there's a skull or something. I can't remember. It's funny. Yeah, maybe. I could see this being a great Scooby-Doo character.
Pull off the mask. Who's under the mask?
It's Old Man Stevens or whatever. I don't know. It's always the person you thought it was, chat. There's a question in chat that says, how do you manage fonts, colors, and swatches? There's so many out there. Help. That's true. There's an endless amount of opportunity.
There are so many.
So I typically have like a list that I have that there's like my favorites.
Yeah.
Or it's very project specific. I will rediscover fonts that I bought a long time ago that, you know, are perfect for a project, but not necessarily great for every project. And you kind of just revisit them.
I have a file.
Do you? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, I just have a folder.
Nice. It's a smart way of going about it.
All right, what color? What are we doing? What's this? What color are we doing this bib thing?
I don't know. What are you thinking is gonna? What do you think the primary color is going to be in your background? Because I think there's so many opportunities, but I think the biggest color flood that you're gonna have is that background.
Yeah. I don't know, chat. What do y'all think?
Yes, chat. Please tell us. Tell us your
like
thoughts.
A teal, maybe.
A teal? Teal would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that would allow you to also.
Because that would offset a lot of the oranges.
Yes.
So let's.
And you have those peppers on the shirt.
So and habanero peppers are orange.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Let's do. Ooh, green. Well, no, I don't know. Green might fade into that background.
Well, the great thing is that you're building these in layers, so you could just adjust them later on. Too,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's why I do that.
That's big smarts right there. That's the pro move.
Let's see. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and start inking it because the peppers are gonna be orange.
Alex says, I was gonna say navy. Ginshem says orange. Kevin says should be blue of some sort. Anna says turquoise sounds good. Alex, with the second option, says or gold. Gold is a tough one.
Yeah, gold is pretty tough. Gold usually turns into mustard.
Exactly. That's the hardest part about gold, is that it's not actually a color. It's a gradient or gradients of browns and yellows. And
yeah, if you're gonna do gold, foil it.
Yeah.
Just foil it, and that's pretty pricey. And you really, so the thing about gold is if you're gonna foil it, also you really need to communicate with your printer, because they have a special way you have to break up your file and things like that. And you never want to put any of those special gradients or anything on that file either.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
That was a great question. How do you usually choose colors, Kimmie? Do you ever use Adobe Color?
I use Adobe Color all the time. And when they took it off Illustrator, I was very upset. Like, y'all have no idea how upset I was. But yeah, I use Adobe Color a lot.
Alex Design says fake gold is the way to go.
Fake gold. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and outline it. So do we want to keep all of our outline colors the same as well, or?
I feel like that could probably work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What I usually like to do is just to blend those outline colors into my background. So, but I don't know if a dark blue background would be wise. But again, I could do a dark blue background and then come in with some texture and lighten it up that way as well. So there's so many options.
Yeah, I mean, that is the tough part, right? It's like,
Yeah,
got
if I
this.
do that, I'm gonna have to break my file up.
Yep.
Because texture can kind of weigh your system down.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah, I can see this even like if you did do a teal color, you know, shirt color, then you probably you could even reinforce it with having like the same color for your outlines, but then doing a multiply on it, or a darker version to keep that kind of color palette similar for the whole shirt. I don't know. There's so many things.
Yeah. And that's why I like using global colors, so you can sit there and you can just kind of play around with them. Or keeping everything on separate layers makes it a little bit easier to play around that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I always love seeing how creatives organize their files in a way that's more efficient for their process and their workflow. And you've done a great job.
Oh, thank you. Still want to get that like real organic feel to these outlines too. Let's keep it nice and wavy.
Nice. I really love your brushes. Those are really cool.
Thank you. I know they came out like pretty nice. Totally dig them. Let's do these. Let's bring this down some more.
Fergie's saying that they wish that Adobe Colors was in XD as well, which I didn't know that wasn't in XD. That's interesting. Well, at least the website is still available, so we can do that.
Yeah. I thought they were like getting rid of all of it, and I was like, wait, no, I can't live without that. You can't just take it away. Because I always knew it was there. But I only just started utilizing it.
Isn't that funny how it works? Is
yeah,
features are there for so long and you forget about them until you start using them one day, and then you can never get rid of them.
And it's so funny because I watch Adobe Live all the time. I just work and lurk, and every person who's been on there for the past couple weeks is like, "Oh well, I use Adobe Colors," and I'm like, "And they're getting rid of it." All these people use it. What are y'all doing? But usually if they're getting rid of a feature, that usually means something's coming or they're making an edit to something else. So I'm not too upset.
Yeah. Anne asks, I missed the part about her brushes. Is there a link to them? And yes, Anne, if you go into the top corner of the chat window, you can look at the info page and then go to her Behance profile and subscribe. And then you can download her brushes and get access to all of her content as well. We got about 20 minutes left in chat. If you have any questions, please let us know. We would be happy to answer all of them. When you're thinking about these illustration styles for this, what was kind of your inspiration for this kind of hot sauce packaging?
I was just kind of looking on Pinterest, which normally I'm not a fan of Pinterest for some things, but
Yeah.
I just got sucked down. Some character design stuff, and I've been looking at a lot of character design stuff lately. And then from there, I've wandered onto some poster art, band poster art, and they have that really deep line work. You know how a lot of band poster art has that deep line work, and Todd Slaughter does a lot of like line work in his work as well. So that was kind of inspirational through there. Does a lot of I love his line work. His line work is insane.
Question in chat says, do you work on more than one project at a time?
Yes.
How many typically do you work on?
I can work on anywhere between 2 to 3 projects at a time, and the reason why I do that is so I don't get bored on a project. It keeps you stimulated, and if you get stuck on one project, sometimes you can sorry, my arm's getting locked up. Sometimes you can actually solve a problem on one project while working on another project. So even if it's not a client project, work on a passion project. Just work on something else that can just kind of help you move along. And I'm really bad about finishing my projects sometimes, especially my personal projects. So I might not post a lot of projects, but I'm always working on something. I'm always doodling something. And then just get into that habit of juggling more than one project, because that just it's just a good habit to be in, because it really helps you with your time, being able to juggle all of that. And I just never got out of that habit from college, like ever. And I managed a print shop, and I was always juggling 3-4 projects at a time. Come in the morning, I would have to section off my days of when I would work on a project, and I never wanted to have a project waiting somewhere and it's like, okay, I finished this one, now I have to start a new one. I always wanted a project to be in some state of finish. My dog's letting me know what time it is. Man, you're good at telling time. Because I never wanted to, like, that saying, end up with your pants around your legs, around your ankles. So it's just a habit of mine.
Do you feel like that's also kind of helped you stay away from kind of having creative blockers, or
yeah,
do you still kind of experience those?
Oh, I still experience creative block. I mean, that's just gonna happen. But it just helps keep some sort of flow. And sometimes you have to take a break. You just can't work on anything.
Yeah.
And when that's the case, I go do something with my husband, or I just go aggravate him. and I just tell him, I was like, I can't work today, or I can't do something. I need to go do something else.
Yeah.
And just get away from that. And I just don't work on it at all. So it's just kind of breaking that up. But it's always something I've just been able to do. And I always recommend just kind of managing your time that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now I'm gonna treat all that.
Sunny asks, is there a project management app that you all use to keep things moving along?
I use a paper planner.
There you go, old school. I like it.
Oh yeah, I have to write it.
No subscription model necessary.
Nope. It's called Plum Paper, and it is an expensive planner because I have problems. I just love their layout design. It comes in so many different types of designs. Just go to the store and buy a $10 planner. You don't need an expensive one. But just being able to block everything out at a certain time and just write everything out and just physically seeing just massively. I can't, because digitally you can't see it all.
Yeah.
On paper, you can see everything. So that's just a lot more helpful that way.
Bliss goes, analog, I'm here for the paper planner. That's so funny. Yeah, for me, it's really depends on what the client is using. We have so many different clients and they have so many different project management softwares that
Yeah, they're always using something, and I'm just like, I got a paper planner.
Yeah, we just work with whatever the client has and wants to use, and then we delegate accordingly. On the paper planner train as well. Melissa says that helps me too. I need to flip pages and use highlighters.
Yes, I color code everything. Color coding is life.
Yeah. I love using highlighters for like books that I'm reading as well. This helps me remember random quotes throughout the book.
I used to keep a notebook and I'd write down the quotes and the book it was in.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't know. I was a weird child.
Somebody says they use Trello at work, but I haven't used it. Trello's okay. Trello is typically like
we use
Trello thing.
We use Trello for production whenever I was a screen printer. I didn't care for it because it was just like another thing I had to keep up with that I didn't need, but the company want it.
Yeah. Shashank asks, is there a daily exercise that we should do to improve our drawing? I think you're right there already in your headspace. If you just draw every day, you're going to get better at it. But if you want to take it and like, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm awful at drawing.
So my wind down is simply to sit on the couch with my iPad while I watch TV and doodle. If my iPad is not charged, which half the time it's not charged these days, I'll just use a physical like drawing tablet and do that. But I just scroll through Pinterest or Instagram and just doodle things that I see on there for no rhyme or reason. They have no real purpose. Just as like ideas, like I'll draw eyes.
Yeah.
Like a collection of eyes, or I'll do face studies, just something that might catch your eye and interest you. Jot down a bunch of different ideas of things that you feel like you want to work on and just draw them. Draw stormtroopers. I mean, I actually did that one day. I just drew a bunch of stormtroopers and I ended up doing this. I actually got stickers printed. I did a little Mandalorian mask, but.
Is that the guy from Halo?
That's Mandalorian.
Oh, I see it now.
But
I'm joking. I just wanted to trigger Val a little bit.
I think, I didn't even post that. But just set time aside, draw every day, and then eventually you'll get there. You'll get it.
Yeah.
But you have to put the time in. And again, that's one of those things where I was adamant, like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It'll come. No, it's not. It's not going to come unless you put the time in. So
Val goes, did she say stormtroopers?
Yep.
Instantly into Voodoo Val's heart.
Yeah.
I think there's two kind of ways that you can practice, and it can be either like passive or active. And passive is kind of like you were saying with like doodling on the couch, having fun with it. And then there's active, which is like, I'm going to practice getting better at XYZ thing. Yeah. And then actively trying to see which things are working, which things aren't, and how do you get there. So you need to be able to self-critique a little bit to kind of move yourself forward.
These lines are a little thin. Let's jump in here. Let's thicken them up. Ooh, 5. Yeah, let's go thicker. There we go. But yeah, and then sometimes you'll end up with a tablet of doodles, and one of those doodles you can usually take off and go somewhere with it. But you're not going to know unless you sit down and you start. You have to start.
Yeah, I think just making it a habit will help you kind of get there quicker.
And I just like doing it at the end of the day because it's just a nice little wind down. There's no pressure. Yeah. Like there's no purpose, rhyme or reason. Just sit down and just kind of have fun. Have fun with it. Don't put any pressure on yourself. That's the other thing. Just don't put pressure on yourself to do it either. Because that's where you're going to get frustrated and you're just not going to want to do anything. I think I might just end up reflecting this hand for time. Let's go do it. Little sound effect for you.
It's looking great.
All right, all right.
Val says she has a Mendo sticker as well and Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
She says we should trade Kimmie. That's so funny.
Yeah, I'll totally send you a sticker, Val. I had started a Baby Yoda one, but I never finished him. I need to finish him. If you ever get art block, you can always just go back to an old illustration. I go back and I look at it, I'm just like, what was I doing? Where did, huh? Usually end up having to redo it.
Those storyboard images at the end of The Mandalorian are so
I love
good.
those. Oh my gosh, I love those. I'm like, can we buy those? That's totally something I would want to buy.
Oh man, I can only imagine.
You know Disney's selling that. You know they're selling that.
Stoney and Alex are reminding you to save and take sips of nice, refreshing water.
I'm almost out of water.
Thank you, Bernadette, as well.
There we go.
Val says she'll send you one. Woo! So it's sticker time.
I love stickers. I used to collect them as a kid. We had a skating rink out here, and growing up, that's where I would get the majority of my stickers. It's from this rundown skating rink.
I love that chat is just talking about Baby Yoda and allowing Baby Yoda to date, but not being old enough to date anybody yet, and he'll be grounded if he tries.
Oh my goodness.
But isn't he like 300 years old? Like, Baby Yoda's like pretty old, but it's still a baby, but still old. I don't know. I don't know how any of the time works in this.
I don't know, franchise. But the age regression technology they used on Luke was hilarious.
Yeah.
At first, I was so excited it was Luke, and then I looked at it and I was like, what did they do?
Yeah. With all the CGI and all the incredible effects that they did with like virtual production and things like that, you would think that they would have spent a little bit more time on it.
It was just one of those things, and it was just like, all right, I guess we just have to accept it. We just, all right.
Yeah. They apparently hired the guy who like fixed that scene though. So whenever they're bringing back Luke again, at least he'll hopefully have like better deepfake technology.
I don't know. Are they coming out with another season, or did they just kind of end it on us?
I don't know. I think Val will probably know. Val says the Star Wars nerd in me isn't going to let this go. He's actually 50. Okay. Well, 50, 300, same thing.
How dare you assume his age? I think I read somewhere that they're not bringing back half of the Marvel TV shows they made, but they are going to bring back Loki.
Yeah, I heard Loki's coming back, which is cool. Yeah. Loki is pretty. Just from like that whole aesthetic in the show was just phenomenal.
But they left me hanging on WandaVision. I invested in that. I had to sit through the first 3 episodes. Going, what is this? And then I got invested, and then they're just gonna leave me hanging. But I think they're supposed to like wrap it all up in Loki.
Oh, cool. That'd be cool.
So I don't know.
Val says, oh, so there is a guy on YouTube who redid the whole Luke scene and basically said it was as a joke that they couldn't do a better job, and then they hired him. So yeah.
Huh. Just goes to show, like.
Yeah, your passion project might get you guys hired.
Yeah, your passion project can Well, I think one guy made like an animated short one time and Pixar hired him.
Oh, interesting.
So just get your stuff out there.
Yeah. Post it on
really-
Behance. Use your Adobe portfolio. Build your
Yep.
portfolio page. You'll be fine. We have about 5 minutes left, 6 minutes left. So if you have any questions in chat, definitely ask them. We can get to them meow. And then we'll be back tomorrow.
Right
So that's exciting.
now.
Right meow.
Right now.
For some reason, I feel like this knife is just too friendly for how crazy he is.
Well, I didn't want to make it very violent.
No, that's fair.
It
It is hot sauce. It's already
It
going to
is-
stab you in the...
that and it is a knife.
Yeah.
I was like,
Alex asked, where did the time go? Exactly. Where did the time go? It's flown by.
all right, let's take a look at it. Check that out. Digging it.
Oh, it's looking good.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
That's cool.
Let's see, let's get the peppers in. Actually, I'm gonna draw that middle pepper. I think I like how it looks better.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hee.
Val says there's a team of friends who wanted to work on music videos. They made a Beyonce fan video and it went viral overnight. They woke up to an email from Beyonce's management team asking if they're available to do her next music video. That's bonkers. That's crazy. That's awesome. I'm glad it ended positively instead of like
A cease and desist.
Exactly. Yeah, Val says you can make your dreams a reality with passion projects and fan art. You can absolutely do that. That's true. Don't let your dreams become memes. As the kids say.
A meme. Let's group that. Oop.
Shashank asks, how do you know which designs that the designs that you're making are ready for the market? That's a great question. I think that there's a realm of acceptability that you should be targeting, and you will eventually learn that as you do more and more work about when they're ready to go. So it takes a little bit of like time and practice, and I think designers like to sometimes overthink their work and not want to post things until it's pixel perfect or until it hits a threshold, but it's not gonna help you by doing that. So
Yeah.
even my own Behance portfolio doesn't have all the best work. It has some stuff that's not the best, and I invite you to look it up, look at it, tell me which ones suck in the comments on my Behance.
That's where that feedback you get is so important, and don't put your feelings into your work. Just be open to feedback. If you're not open to feedback and you let all your feelings hang in that work, then you're not going to go very far.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just have to be very open to that. So when you ask for feedback, don't be defensive. Just take it just take it. That's really all I can say, is just take it. Feedback is just so important.
Bernadette says, life's too short. Shouldn't we all be making our dreams a reality? I agree. Don't let your dreams become memes. Memes.
Become memes.
Perfect. Yeah, we have about 2 minutes before we start saying goodbye. So if you do have any last minute questions, definitely do it. What Val says, personally, y'all know I love Star Wars. I did fan art and Captain Phasma, and it was displayed on the red carpet for the premiere of The Last Jedi. Do passion projects, do them. Let it flow through you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like I just got the whole like, just do it meme kind of thrown at me from Val. Thank you, Val. Yes, that's huge. And I can't believe you had a red carpet. That's amazing.
That is really awesome.
Yeah. Dude, that's massive.
I would be like, can I have a copy of that? I'm just going to keep that behind me the whole time.
Absolutely.
Of course you can print my work. I'm just going to need a copy of that.
I'm just going to need it back when you're done with it at the red carpet.
Yeah. All right.
Sweet. So this is kind of where we're at. Look at that save. You threw a last minute save in there. I love it. So this is where we're at currently. So you want to kind of walk us through what's on the agenda for tomorrow?
So tomorrow, I'm gonna try and wrap up some more of this, and hopefully we can get the rest like colored in, ready to go, and we can start doing the typeface and getting all of the nitty gritty, kind of boring stuff, but not really all that boring. That's like the really important stuff out of the way. But yeah, we're gonna try and knock the rest of this stuff out tomorrow.
Sweet. I'm super excited. This is coming together really nicely.
I know, it's really fun.
Yeah. So make sure that you go follow her on Behance. All of her links are on there. Definitely check her out. And we will be back in a bit. After this, we've got the XDDCC with Brendan, and then a draw along with Kyle T. Webster. And then we'll be back tomorrow to kind of kick this back off. Full bore, get your taste buds salivating with all the hotness that this label is bringing to us. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.